Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to an extra interview of Final Cut. And today I'm joined by an actress who is quite the Christmas lady. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Rebecca Dalton.
Hello there.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm glad, I'm not too bad, thank you very much. Firstly, how did you get started out in acting?
I think that I was born, and the second I was born, I was just acting all the time. I don't even remember where it started. I know when I was younger, I performed in front of my family all the time, just little plays I made up. I was doing Steve Urkel impressions and anything to make anybody laugh. And then, I got into school and I was doing all the school plays, and I always played the lead because I was the only 6-year-old taking it seriously. And, I was always in the acting camps, and if I need an extracurricular activity, it was drama school, and I just fell into it, and it kind of never stopped, and it just went from there.
Did you have any influences growing up?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I loved a lot of the older movies. The Wizard of Oz was and still is my favorite movie, so I really loved Judy Garland. I loved Audrey Hepburn, the classics.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, I was raised on the television show Friends, and
So was I.
Yeah,
So was I.
and it was. I mean, it's not your typical influencers, but I mean, they were Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow. They were so funny and so talented to me, and I really looked up to them from a very young age.
No, on certain aspects, though, but not everything.
Pardon?
Only on certain aspects, not everything.
Yes, exactly. Of course.
Just thought we should clear that up because they've all
Yes.
done questionable things in Friends.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's also true that Matt LeBlanc's Joey Tribbiani wouldn't get away with a lot that he actually got away with back in the day.
Oh, I know. There's a few things I look back and they pushed boundaries that are no longer allowed anymore.
Yeah.
But it was a different.
It was a different time, and it still makes me laugh, particularly.
Oh, me too.
Particularly Matt LeBlanc with a lucky as when he finds out that Monica and Chandler slept together, his face.
Oh yeah,
it's just a picture.
I mean, it's just a timeless show. That comedy will ever die.
So, as far as TV and movie goes, you've done a fair bit. You've had guest roles in TV series like Suits, Saving Hope. You were leading a sitcom called Spun Out. What were they like to film?
Spun Out was just the time of my life, I think. Just talking about Friends, getting a role in a sitcom was a dream come true for me, especially up in Canada. Spun Out was actually the first multicam sitcom shot there in 10 years. So it was really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it did not disappoint. It's multicam is very different from single cam, and I think it's a whole other world of acting. I mean, it's kind of like stage acting. You get 4 days to rehearse, and then on the 5th day, on the Friday, you perform in front of a live studio audience. But all that pressure's kind of off because you're almost encouraged to screw up and make some jokes about it, and the audience loves what you mess up and the bloopers. And but you also, you get to gauge the reaction and find out what works and what doesn't, and what's funny and what's not. And you get to do that on the spot. So the final product is, it's really tight. And that's something that you don't actually usually get with single cam, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very unique experience, and I had so much fun with it.
Oh. Would you do it again?
Oh, yeah, in a heartbeat. We did it. We did 2 seasons. I think we thought we were going to get a third, and we didn't. And a multicam sitcom is definitely what I'm always after. I just love that type of filming.
Speaking of filming, you're in a TV series called The Good Witch. What was it about, and what was your character in it?
Good Witch is about a witch named Cassie, and she lives in a small town of Middleton, and she's with her daughter. It's just her and her daughter, and they both kind of have magical powers, and they help their friends and family within the town. And my character was Tara, and she was married to Brandon, who was Cassie's stepson. So Tara had, her medical degree, and her and Brandon were just trying to, they were just navigating marriage. That was kind of their thing. And, Tara really wanted a baby, and Brandon wasn't ready. And that was kind of what our characters were dealing with at the time. So I did season 2 to 4, I believe. I can't remember now, but I think they just aired their 6th season, I believe. So I'm not with them anymore, but it was a great time. The cast was incredible, and it was really fun.
Would you go back if you were asked?
Oh yeah, of course, definitely.
Now, you've done a fair share of Christmas movies, so is it safe to assume you really love Christmas?
I mean, yes, I do. I absolutely love Christmas. I'm definitely a holiday girl. Sometimes with these movies, I get a little too much Christmas in my year. Sometimes it's Christmas in July for me, but yeah, no, I love it. It's so much fun, and it's, the spirit of it is always very uplifting. So I do enjoy it.
Now, there is a movie on Netflix, and I have actually looked this up. It's called Christmas Wedding Planners, which you star in.
Yes.
So shall we tell the ladies and gentlemen what they can expect in it?
Yeah, that movie, that was fun. We did that a few years ago. My character, Emily, is getting married, and my cousin is planning the whole thing. Kelsey was her name. And, she finds a private investigator hanging around, and it kind of flips everything on its head, and my wedding and my marriage kind of hangs in the balance. So,
oh dear.
So we'll find out the rest.
Oh dear. I was going to ask you, actually, is it like The Wedding Planner starring Jennifer Lopez? But it's not really, is it?
No, it's not. I love that movie, but it isn't quite like that. But it has that feel. There is a lot of wedding planning aspects to it, and but it's not quite as, the wedding planner isn't running off with the groom or anything, which is a little risque, but
kind of glad. Have you got any other Christmas movies coming out since this is the season to be jolly?
Of course I do. Yes. I think this is my 5th or 6th year in a row that I have a new Christmas movie, so I've got to keep my streak alive. It's called The Santa Squad. We actually started filming that in March, and then we got shut down because of the pandemic.
Because of COVID, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got back at it in July, which was great, and we finished it, and it's coming out December 7th on Lifetime.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now, you've done short movies and you've done TV movies. Which is easier to make?
That's a very good question. I wouldn't say that either one is easier to make. I mean, of course, one takes less time, but it really depends on the nature of the film and what you're doing, and also what role you have. I mean, if I'm number one on a short, I'm going to be working, 15, 16-hour days every day. But, if you're number 2, it's a little bit different. So it's hard to say. It really, really varies. But, they're both relatively the same, minus like the duration of it.
How would you say the business has evolved since you debuted 10 years ago? And happy 10th anniversary.
Oh, thank you. I mean, everything's just a lot more efficient. They can film things so quickly now. Some of the made-for-TV movies I do can shoot in 11 days, which is, I never really. I remember TV shows and movies taking a couple of months to do. 3 months, but so that's kind of changed. Another big thing that's changed and has really helped me is how it's moved a lot from in-person to digital. When it comes to auditioning. So I'm actually based in Indiana because my husband is an IndyCar driver and he has to be here. So, I mean, without being able to tape myself here at home and send it out, it would be really difficult for me. So I've been very lucky that way, and that's changed a lot. And
you don't mind me saying, is your husband James Hinchcliffe?
Yes, that's right.
Do you want to know something? I actually used to watch IndyCar quite a lot, and I still watch it on highlights to this day.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So
yeah,
carry on.
That's my fire alarm, isn't it? I'm sorry.
Nah, no worries.
Oh, I thought that was coming through the phone.
Nope.
My husband will handle that. I'm sorry about that.
Nah, no worries. It was not a true interview unless something's gone wrong.
Right.
Right. We are a bit pressed for time, so I'm going to cut through this next section quite a bit. What would you say are your career highlights?
I mean, I hate to go back to Spun Out, but Spun Out was definitely a highlight. Just doing that kind of filming was just a blessing, and the people I met, and going to the CTV upfronts and meeting all these really talented actors, and we got to premiere at the Bell Light Box in Toronto, where the TIFF festival always is, and I think that was the highlight. But for me, the final product is never really the big deal for me. It's always the experiences that I have on set, and it's always a great experience. It's very hard for me to say no to a role, because regardless of what it is or what I'm doing, I always end up meeting someone incredible that I'm so grateful to have met. And I think the business is very interesting and cool that way.
It is.
Yeah.
Have you got any other projects coming up in the next couple of months to a year?
I have Nurses. I did Nurses on Global, which is coming out. It kind of paused because of the pandemic. So I don't know when that's airing, but I don't actually have anything coming up. Everything kind of froze in Canada a little bit.
Yeah.
Because COVID is getting worse again. But I'm sorry, is it okay that I keep going, or is this going to interrupt you?
No, it's fine. I can hear you more than the alarm anyway, so you're all right.
Okay. So yeah, I don't actually have anything. I think, we'll get through the Christmas and New Year's and hope everything is kind of calmed down a little bit, and then we can get back into it full throttle. Which
we will do inevitably. It's like everything. Yeah. You watch all the movies where there's a pandemic or something bad happens. Everything always gets better.
Yeah, exactly.
What would you like the future to hold for you on a personal and a professional level?
I mean, life changes every day. I never thought I would end up living in Indiana, but as an actress. But I would love to do sometime in the future, play a little bit of a darker role. I'm always kind of the girl next door, which is always fun to play. But I would definitely like a challenge, and just play someone a little bit dark and twisted. That is something that I really love to do. So that's something I hope. And yeah, just maybe get a sitcom, get into some, films that aren't just on TV. That would be fun. That's really popular right now, though.
You could always do a TV series about Indiana Pacers fans.
You're right, I could. Or about IndyCar. Who knows? I have some knowledge there.
I have actually, to be honest with you, I actually have a fair bit of knowledge. I'm going back to the days of Dario Franchitti, which is like the late 90s. So I know a fair bit about it.
Do you? Okay, sorry, I got cut off because of the fire alarm there. But yeah, that's great that you're a fan. That's really cool. It's nice to meet those.
Yeah. give me 220 mile an hour on an oval any day over a one-sided Formula One championship.
Oh, yeah, I like you. Okay.
By the way, shall I tell you what the worst crash that I actually saw?
What's that?
Kenny Breck's 1998 one at Texas Motor Speedway. He never raced after that smash. That's probably the worst smash, but that's why it's so good as well, because you're going at 220 mile an hour, and it's just like they're so close together that anything could happen.
Yes, and James and I actually reconnected because he hit the wall going 232 miles an hour.
God, it got quicker.
This year I think they went 237.
Bloody hell.
But yeah, he hit the wall and he almost lost his life, and we reconnected. We actually went to high school together, but we reconnected because I reached out to see if he was okay and kind of compare.
You know what? That's a romance story so good, not even Sylvester Stallone could have done that better.
Yeah, maybe I'll write that one day and star in that.
Just briefly, before we finish, if anyone wants to find you on social media, how would they go about it?
I am on Instagram under Becky J. Hinch, which is my married name. But you can search me under Rebecca Dalton and I'll be there. And I am Becky J. Dalton on Twitter.
Which I will find out after this interview. And I must admit, on a nice, refreshing change about someone who's actually married in a sport that I absolutely love, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Rebecca Dalton.
Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely to speak with you.
The honour is all mine, darling.